Welcome, one and all. My name is Anna Lempriere, and I am a wayfinder. I work for the Cornwall Memory Cafe Network, supporting carers and people living with dementia to access services, make referrals, and really help them find a way to get more support. This is part of Disability Cornwall, and we've decided to create this podcast interviewing experts and people with lived experience on dementia to be able to share all sorts of interesting and informative and supportive information. So sit back and enjoy, and also share the podcast with your friends. It's relaxed and inclusive and welcoming, and thank you for listening. We are here today with the wonderful, lovely Gayle Andrews. My name is Anna Lempriere, and I am the host of the Cornwall Memory Cafe Network podcast. And the purpose of the podcast, we're linked to Disability Cornwall. And the purpose of the podcast really is to share wonderful information about all the services, all the support, all the stuff that's going on in Cornwall to help people that are carers and people living with dementia live a good life. So, Gayle, my first question to you then is, what's got you into the work that you do? Tell us a little bit about you and why you do what you do.
Right, yeah, thank you for having me, first of all. And yes, I'm originally from Hertfordshire, moved down to Cornwall just over 2 years ago.
Wow.
And so part of this job is what's amazed me and what's been so beneficial is helping me navigate around Cornwall, because it's very vast. So it's lovely to learn all the locations and everything that's around. My background is within the local authority, so within the social care sort of network, really.
Okay.
And I stopped my sort of career, raised my children, and it's just that natural point where it's my kids are getting a little bit older, wanting to be a little bit more independent, and for me wanting to do something more for me. And I came across the Filo Project and instantly just felt incredibly passionate about it, because daycare just gets such a bad rap, I think, at times, and particularly in my sort of previous work, it's to see something so unique and so positive. I instantly sort of jumped on board with it, and here I am. So yeah, I've been with Filo now for about 18 months, or just over 18 months.
Wow. And you're based in Cornwall. So will you tell us then, for those listening, what is the Filo Project?
So the Filo Project, we've been around for 10 years, believe it or not. We're in Somerset, Devon, and East Lancashire, random. And then, yeah, now we're sort of getting very well established in Cornwall, which is brilliant. And what we do is we provide small group daycare to sum it all up. So for up to 4 to 5 individuals, they will be picked up from their home. They're taken to a host's home. We employ that host, and from that host's home, they will spend the day there. They will get interacting in activities, socializing, very relaxed. A big anchor being that the lunch is a key part of the day, where they can socialize and just have something for themselves, really, and to also give the carer a nice substantial break. So they will spend the day in that host's home, and then that host at the end of the day will return them home.
Wow.
So that sums it up, basically.
That sounds absolutely awesome. I'm just thinking of becoming a host, except I don't have a minibus. How would I take 6 people home?
Well, it's 4, so it'd be 4 people that would be people. Obviously most cars will fit 4 driver and 4 people. So we will have the exception where we could have another 5th person if they arrive by their own sort of transport. But yeah, we find that number 4-5 is a very good balance. One, for the practical reasons, obviously, of the car aspect.
Yeah.
So 2, it's a very good dynamic that it allows that host to support one-to-one where necessary, but also just for everybody to bounce off of each other, not feel overwhelmed being in a big group. It's a nice set number that we feel works very, very well, that everybody can be supported individually, but that the group can be tailored, and it'd be very sort of bespoke as well. And I think it's having that relaxed environment, being in somebody's home. Instantly, when you walk into someone's home, you know, you just relax into that homely environment, which is a very different aspect than if they were in a community centre, for example, you know, even down
or in a day centre.
Yes, and you know, acoustics and everything around. So we find that number mixed with the environment is a very good sort of balance, really.
That's amazing. Well, you were talking about acoustics and a big aeroplane went by, so forgive me and sorry, audience.
Saying that, I have my emails popping off as well. So it's all these distractions, and it's
we're keeping it real.
We are absolutely. I'll have my dog barking in a minute. So
yes, exactly. So let's go into a little bit more detail then. So imagine that somebody like me, maybe, what if you were a carer and you thought, I would love to host that, and you've got somebody that you're looking after, but you're inviting more people in. That could be a really nice idea as well. Do people ever do that?
I believe we do have hosts that do that. There's lots of sort of aspects to consider in that sort of situation, but it's certainly doable. We do have a lot of hosts that have that background. Potentially they may have somebody and they've sort of perhaps moved on in their journey, so it's like, right, I've got time, I'm, you know, this has become very much a big focal point of my life, I want to give back, and they obviously have the knowledge and the experience, so it's something that they could absolutely jump on board with. And
that's so cool. So and you've already started that in Cornwall?
Yes, we've got a good few groups. I mean, dotted all over. We're trying to kind of get into all the corners. It's really taken off. So which is fantastic.
That is amazing. So how would people find out about this? I guess it's just word of mouth, and
we have the website, so which is all the details we can sort of get them sent through, and you know, it's through, we work with a lot of the memory cafes, Memory Matters, through that's part of our job, is to obviously network as well, is to spread the word and to work with the organisations. And certainly in Cornwall, that's the sort of the plan that we have going forwards, is to work with the organisations so that we keep them updated on group status and where we have the groups, the availability, and signpost as well. So we all kind of work together, really, and that's what we're doing, is building up that relationship with other local organisations to spread the word. So yeah.
Oh, lovely. So imagine then somebody, a person, a host, as you call them, in Helston said, right, I'm up for this. What's the first step then? Do you come and have a look at their space and make sure it feels safe and cozy enough and everything for an event?
What we ask for a host is a couple of basic things initially. So they need to have a downstairs toilet, so that we don't have anybody needing to go up flights of stairs, so that minimises the risk. The property needs to have fairly good access, but this is Cornwall, so most people have a few steps to their properties, don't they? But as long as they haven't got a big flight of stairs, and they need to have a vehicle that holds 4 other adults, and most cars these days, but they do need to have the full middle seat belt.
Okay.
So those are the 3 sort of basics that we kind of need. We don't need to necessarily have somebody with care or dementia related experience, but we do find that's what draws a lot of people's attention, you know, is that they've perhaps been ex-nurses, or they've been carers, or, you know, caring for their own family. It's about that individual having the, you know, empathy, but also just wanting to give back, to be able to support and to do it in such a relaxed, you know, gentle way.
Yeah. And then that host would sort of get some tea and some biscuits and things like that, maybe make a cake. And then you'd provide a lunch?
Yeah, so a lot of the hosts, they will get people involved in the meal prep, so, you know, on whatever level, whether that be just peeling the vegetables. Some of them go as far as making the pastry from scratch. I wouldn't, you know, so I couldn't do that. And yeah, just that's the thing. It's very, very free flowing, which is
That's so
brilliant. And so
lovely.
some of them they like to obviously do the food in advance. So it's, that's where slow cookers are a godsend, I think, for a lot of our hosts. And then they can interact with it. It's so relaxed and free flowing. But that's sort of a general synopsis, if you like,
Yes.
of a group.
Yes.
And the variedness really depends on what day it is and how everybody's feeling.
Could it be a Saturday? Could it be
Friday? So yeah, Monday to Friday.
Monday to Friday. Okay. And then so that the Filo Project will bring the people to the host's house, and then the host takes them home.
Yes.
And then it's like what, 10 till 5 or what?
It's approximately 10 till 4, so that includes the journey time. So the host would go and pick up all 4 clients en route, so they'd have a nice little sort of within a localish area, so that spending half the day in the car, and then they'd go back to the host's home. And absolutely, tea and biscuits, no doubt, is going to be on offer. And sometimes it's very much led by the individuals. And if they're all just quite happy engaging in a conversation, some might like to do something more sort of relaxed, like some puzzles, crosswords, colouring. There'll be word games. There could be other sort of activities. Then it's the lunch is a key thing where food brings everybody together, doesn't it?
Yes.
And that's like the anchor point, and the central part of the day is that everybody sits down, the host as well, and they all engage, have a nice meal. Pudding, absolutely, I think, and a bit, hasn't it? And everybody manages to eat the pudding, and and just it's so relaxed. And it's like I like to look at it that when if you're going to your friend's house and you just sit down and it's just relaxed and you're just chatting, and there's no set rule, it's not regimented that we do this activity and then this and then this. It's just really relaxed and free flowing and open, and
like you would if you invited friends or guests to your house. What would you do? You'd catch up, you'd have a chat.
Absolutely.
You might introduce different people if they didn't know each other. You'd have a cup of tea and a biscuit. You might go, oh look, I've talk about topical things or play some music.
Music is a brilliant one. It's one, again, music and food, I think, bring everybody together. I think it doesn't matter what type of music you like, what food you like. There's always some connection there. Absolutely. And it's always the same group of people. They'll always week after week, they go to the same host, same group of people. So they get to build up that relationship, that rapport. And I think it's just a lovely way of them all sort of connecting and being together.
It sounds brilliant. So you're hoping then that the host would do it on a regular basis, not necessarily a monthly basis. It would be every Friday or every Wednesday.
So they're employed, so obviously they would have annual leave, and they're employed. It's a payable employed position, and so they would commit to 1 or 2 days a week, and obviously through various sort of situations, it's we work out what day of the week they can and can't do, and it's the same week every day. We tend to say to clients that you call it your Filo day. So it's like, every Wednesday is my Filo day. And they know, they get into that routine that every Wednesday they're off to Filo. And if they've got carers, that carer knows that every Wednesday they get a good sort of 6 hours respite, really, which is, the opportunity for them to do something beyond just quickly nipping out to the shops and back again. They get a good solid amount of time, whether they want to go out, whether they want to be in their own home. They know that their loved one is well looked after, is safe, is supported, comes back with belly, and everybody's happy. It's a win-win.
Everyone's a winner. What does Filo stand for?
It's to do with the different layers and the amount of layers of care, really. So it is like the pastry with Filo, So which I think is it's brilliant. I
love that. And are you a charity?
No, it's a CIC, so not for profit. Yeah, so
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, so last question, Gayle. What's the first steps then? So first of all, if you are a carer who's looking after somebody that's elderly, living with dementia, they don't have to have a diagnosis, do they? No, they could just be living on their own potentially, and you're a relative that wants to make sure they're not lonely, or you're a carer and, like you say, you want that stimulation for your loved one and also to get some time to yourself, what would they do then to start that process?
Yeah, so it's absolutely don't need a diagnosis. What we ask for, if somebody is experiencing symptoms with dementia, that we can support with mild to moderate symptoms of dementia. But with, it's about sort of combating the loneliness and the social isolation that we see, constantly. And it's about just supporting as many sort of people, elderly and vulnerable, that we can, to reduce the isolation, which can increase the symptoms of dementia, but also depression. And it's about providing that. So again, through working with the other organisations, that's by spreading the word. But they can so they can self-refer, so it doesn't need to come through doctor or social worker.
So that's what I meant. So self-referral, how would they do that? They just ring you up, can they?
Just go onto the website online. There's a very, very simple online form that they can complete, or a family member can complete. So it's just very basic sort of information at the first stage. So need to be a healthcare professional. No. Equally, they can call us and we can take all the details that way.
Great.
And then the next step is that we would then get in touch and get to know a little bit more information. There are two, in the same with the host, that there are sort of three basic sort of stipulations. That's similar with the clients, that we require them to be mobile independently. So obviously if they have walking aids, but because we're going into hosts' own homes, it's very difficult for adaptations for wheelchairs and beyond. So if somebody's able to be mobile with or without a frame or a walking stick, ideal. Obviously, we reduce that risk because they're not having to go up flights of stairs. That they would need to be independent with toileting as well, because the hosts aren't carers, so they don't need shouldn't be providing care on a regular basis in that respect. So those are the only sort of stipulations. But absolutely, the best and most simplest thing to do is to make a referral, and then we have the opportunity then to have a great sort of long chat, however much we need to go through the next sort of steps, what we would do, and obviously look at availability. And that's the beauty, is it's very sort of simple. It's a very simple, straightforward referral form. And then obviously, we get in touch and then can go into as long or short a conversation as needed.
That's amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. I don't think I've forgotten anything to ask you. I mean, we talked about being the host at the beginning. So really the host, the criteria of the house, having that regularity of a space each week to be able to commit to, having a car that you can. Do you need any kind of special insurance in your car?
Yeah, so what we would need is, obviously somebody would need to cover for the business aspect for their car insurance. We have our own public liability insurance to help support from that aspect. Obviously they would get their mileage paid, and obviously they're paid for the day. But I think it's a role that I'm finding as I'm working with Filo, that it's attracting people that want to give back, that want to be can see what it brings. I mean, I go and attend some of the days, and I walk out humbled, because it's just that lovely atmosphere of people just getting along from all different walks of life, from all different backgrounds, at various points along their journey, with or without dementia, and just see everybody just interacting. And for me, if I haven't hosted, but if I was a host, that to me is just incredibly humbling, bless you, to be a part of and to help support with. So if anybody is sort of interested in that respect, certainly encourage from a hosting aspect. And equally, in Cornwall, there just isn't much sort of daycare around really. So this is, a big deal to sort of have this Cornwall now, and to have this people.
And so warm and friendly, and what a lovely way to feel part of the community and to contribute to the community.
Absolutely. So it's growing, and it's growing rapidly, which is brilliant. So it's always lovely to sort of work with and see all the other organisations that are around, that we're all here doing the same thing, which is brilliant. That's what it's all about.
Wow. Thank you, Gayle. Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much. And just to say to the listeners, we'll put all the contact details in the link along with this podcast so that you can simply either ring or email,
Yep.
get someone to support you so that you can start the process.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for your
No,
time.
you're welcome. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been lovely.
It has, hasn't it? Hooray.
Yeah.
This video was produced by Discover Voices, part of Disability Cornwall and Isles of Scilly. To check out all of our content, simply search Discover Voices on YouTube.